Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you an update on this carrier and get some more work done on the mech. Now the carrier's taken a little bit. I've been doing some reconfiguring on it and some module testing and things like that. Getting a little bit of textures on here now. I did start working sort of on the hangar area inside. It's obviously far from complete, but yeah, I've been kind of working on like this interior wall area and then starting to work on this path that goes through the center of the ship. Now, a couple things that have changed. This path and the ship itself got a little bit bigger. It used to be 5 blocks wide going through here. I extended that to 9 blocks wide with the idea of having a CV dropship, I guess, mounted to the back. So as you would go through the entire ship, going out the back door here, there would be this big area that you could dock like a planetary dropship to take SVs and HVs and things down to the surface. So this one, I'm thinking, due to its huge size, although I was kind of outfitting this to land on the planet itself, it is awfully big and would be very wonky, I think, trying to land it on a planet that probably, more than likely, you would really struggle to find a flat area big enough to have this land properly. Um, so I'm thinking that might be the better plan. So basically, you've got this front hangar here, and you've got the hangar door on each side. And these are 5x9 hangar doors. Now the ones out front here are quite a bit bigger than that, and hopefully would be able to accommodate any kind of HV or SV as long as it's not too tall. Um, Now the whole hangar area the floor has been dropped in it, so it is 5 blocks tall now. It used to be 4. I think that helps a little bit. The bridge area is going to be in here, and I'm trying to work out some pathing details and things like that. So basically, bridge, maybe even some slight production in this area, maybe. Although I really want to save that more for the modules or the subships that you would dock onto here. And then it would probably have a second floor just in this corner section, which would be the crew area and things like that. Just a little bit of fluff. Um, However, most of this is not fluff. Unlike the MCRN Leviathan, which was huge on the inside, this one is pretty much dedicating itself to be a hangar and CV mount dock mover ship, something like that. So now here's the version that I had prior that I believe I was showing on the last video, and I was just kind of testing things to see how things would dock on here. So I got 2 trebuchets. I took this interfector and kind of parked it on back. Obviously, this interfector, this back landing gear is way off the back edge of the ship. Now, the new version is 2 blocks wider and 1 block longer than the one that was over there. Not much of a difference. Visually speaking, it's extremely hard to notice any difference by just looking at it. However, I did these things for reasons. It wasn't just so I'd make the ship bigger. For instance, when I made the ship 1 block longer, that I cut it at this point here and brought the whole front end up 1 more block and then added a new block row here. And I did that for the purpose that I had these neat looking glass windows on here, but the problem is before the glass was actually taking up a block space on the edge of the hangar door, which was gonna limit getting things in and out. So I basically made the ship bigger so I could keep the glass and push that away from the hangar door to not have any obstructions when you're trying to get in and out of the hangar. And the other cuts and like the width, like I made the ship wider 1 block on each side essentially. So I cut it right down this line here and brought that out a block, and I did that. Well, it's kind of a 2-step process. One, The objective was to make this inner area here 9 blocks wide, so you could essentially drive HVs or whatnot right through the center of the ship to get to the back of the ship for unloading. So I made the ship 2 blocks wider, but then I also took this wall here and I moved that out 1 block further out. So the combination of the two things gave me the 9 block width I wanted without like going too extreme. Now, I also built a sample or a test docking module. Now this one here is a farm, and I'm not the only one who built one of these. Allessia built one of these as well and sent this to me, and it's very cool. Now this one was built on prior data saying that the dimensions of these had to be a little bit different height and length, I think. Oh, what do I got going on here? One sec. Let me fix my little block I put here. So essentially a module that can fit in here on final specs, it can be 7 blocks high. If you want to land these somewhere else besides this ship, you could add landing gear on the bottom of it. Now I did not on this one, and I also realized that I had to recess the landing gear in 1 block row and keep this front wall completely flat like that. So you got 7 blocks high, 17 blocks wide. To keep the ship under the edge of the docking bay, which would be at this block row here, it can be 23 blocks deep. Anything more than that sticks out over the edge. Now I actually use that to the advantage of trying to get a whole solar array on this. Now what I made here is a 2-story farm module. Now this is just a test thing, so don't look at this as what it's actually going to look like in the end, because it's not even close, hopefully. But this is packing 360 grow plots on 2 floors in here, and then it can kind of dock up and mount. Now I don't particularly like my pathing up in these areas. I just wanted to make sure that I had enough height so you could get a 7 block high creation in there, which allows you for 2 floors of 2 blocks each plus a floor and ceiling. And that's, I think, kind of optimal on building one of these things out. So you can, I mean, these things are actually pretty big. Like this module here is no joke. It's bigger than a lot of starter CVs I made. And it's packing a lot of grow plots. To dock these, for instance, like let me hop in this one. It is really meant to do on first person. So what you would do, and I'm just kind of wandering around a little bit, is typically you'd want to have both things leveled to make it the easiest. So the carrier right now is level, and you do that by holding the O key, and then it just kind of puts you on the same plane. And then what you want to do is you take your crosshair and you kind of line up to just below the little blinky dot I've got here on this bay, and you kind of fly straight at it. So something like this. And if you're accurate, you pull right up to the front. Now usually right before I get to the very front of this, I will try to also pull up, and you want to pull this up so the blocks on top perfectly line up to the ceiling. So once you're all the way forward like this, it docks. And you don't have to be perfectly on, but let's just show you what happened here. So I'm going to get out of God mode a second. Oh, actually, that's not a good idea. I don't have any gravity going on anywhere. So on this ship, the front's a little wonky on how you get it in and out, but what happens is it docks up to this center hallway, and it actually does a pretty good job. Now, I wasn't perfectly accurate there, so you have this little block difference there. I've been more accurate on other docks where you can get it so you can't even really tell that you're walking from one CV to another right here, but like all this is part of the other CV. And then you can just hop right in and out of these things. Again, I don't really like my elevator right here, so I mean this would be restructured, but it's kind of a sample to get the sizes. Now, how this works on the back part, block row 24 plus out here is basically would extend out past the ship and allowing you to have like solar panels sitting there. Now, something I'm not 100% sure on, and maybe you don't need to do this, like the other module here has the solar panels directly above it. And I have a feeling that it's possible they may still work, even if it's under the deck. It might not look like it would work, but I think in game physics it may still work. So let me tell this thing to. Is there any way I can tell it to be off? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm gonna just get rid of that door a minute. It's gonna getting away from trying to dock this one right now. So this other one, let me turn on the thrusters. This works pretty good too, but it'd probably need a little bit of reconfiguration on the docking. And I mean, this was from the information that I had available. This was really done well. Oh, having some issues here. Oh, okay, it is docked. See, now on this one, because of where these the landing pads or these landing gear come out, it kind of pushes it away one block away from the ship, and it doesn't need to have be that way. So then you get that little bit of lip here in between docking. So that's the big thing. But even that, even spec wise on this, and this one was made I think 5 blocks high. So yeah, it still works. I mean, it still docks. You can still get in and out. But yeah, if these were recessed one more block, then this would meet right up to it, and you won't even need the ramp door here either, and it would just kind of line up to the floor. So that's basically how things are docking to it. One other mod I did on this slight one is I'm gonna probably reconfigure this a little bit, but I added a 10th or 10 XL thrusters. Now it's not going to come stock with all these thrusters, but I wanted it to be able to move quickly in space with a very heavy load. So I'm thinking 10 XL thrusters, if you upgrade the ship, would be able to do a pretty good job with that. Now the ship itself is very lightweight, comparatively speaking to its size, and that'll come in handy as well, I think, to help you move more stuff. That's basically where I'm at on this right now. A lot more to do, and it's going to take a while to finish everything off. Current size class, excuse me. Yeah, don't mind the CPU. I've got tons of extra thrusters in here right now. But the size class is almost size class 9, where it's sitting at right now. Obviously, I got to finish off the hangar and these rooms in here and stuff like that. So I'm expecting this to exceed size class 10, but it's going to be hard limited at not exceeding size class 15. Reason for is that is the size class limit of the server that I'm playing on right now, which is size class 15, and I want this to come in at 15 or under. And I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. I'm gonna ramp it up in size class once I tweak out all this stuff and add lights and try to make everything pretty. And it's going to probably ramp up a little bit more size class when I finish off the hallways in here, which is going to be some copying and pasting again. Once I do one section, I can kind of repeat a lot of this, which is helpful to making the ship get built faster. In the back sections out here, I got to work out pathing yet, but I kind of wanted to have some kind of walkways that would go to like a port and starboard engineering section, which would allow you to pop in these big thrusters, as well as hold some of the key components like warp core and generators and fuel tanks and all that fun stuff. So there'll be room on both sides, and there'll be this big open area for even a larger ship that could dock on the ceiling in the back and be able to load up HVs, SVs, and things like that for heading to the planet or whatever function. Now I'm kind of excited about these bays here too, because I mean, you could really make these things do whatever you want them to. Like, I mean, you could have one that's focused around production and storage, or you could make something that I guess does combat here or whatnot. Now, one other kind of idea I haven't really tried to do anything with yet, but it's on my mind, is to build yet another CV, like a small uh, Century Combat Space CV that could kind of dock in these in-between areas. Um, Basically, say you went into hostile space somewhere, which I'm not saying I would recommend with this ship. It's not. It's built to move stuff, not to engage bad guys. Um, but if you did, you could have maybe even four of these like Century CVs that could kind of park in here somehow. And then if you're gonna park it, you undock those and you kind of pull them out to the side here a little bit, which would be like Space Sentry guns. And you put a bunch of turrets on them and load them up with ammo, and they would help protect the main ship. That's purely optional, though. I mean, I don't know if you need that. And also, too, if I do fully get rid of the function of this landing on a planet, which, like I said, it would be really rough to do. It would be very convenient, I would say, because then you don't need to rearrange HVs and SVs and all that stuff every time you're going to go to a planet with something. You could just take this whole thing down. But because I was trying to gear it so it could take off from the planet, it's got currently 6XL lift thrusters built into it, and if it's not going to dock on the planet, it doesn't need anything close to that much power. It needs the power mainly in the back of the ship to push it forward in space. Now, like any kind of big barge or anything like that, this thing does not slow down super fast. It's got 4 large reverse thrusters on it, but if you weigh this thing up with a lot of stuff on it, it's going to be like you're operating a big cargo transport ship in the real world, where if something gets in your way, man, you ain't stopping. It's going to take you miles to stop. So yeah, you best stay out of the way. So that's kind of the deal on this. Now, right now, it's still, I mean, it's really, really fast. I mean, it operates like a small SV, a very agile small SV right now. But, once you get all this heavy stuff on here, it's going to slow it down a lot. And especially if you got a lot of cargo in these bays and all that, it's going to get heavy. So I think that'll work out the details. I was going through all kinds of different options and how I wanted to try to deal with loading up a CV from here with HVs and SVs and getting it on the ground. And one option that I kind of looked at a little bit, a suggestion was to like make this front area here a detachable CV. But logistically speaking, it was going to cause a lot of other problems because I would have to like cut into the hangar here decent amount, at least enough space to dock that stuff. So probably up to about this mid-level here. And then I was going to have to create walls all the way around it, basically make this whole area here unusable or too small to really dock anything to or anything like that. And it was just going to be a logistical nightmare. And then another option was to add hangar doors over here that can go to the front 2 modules over on these sides. But that was going to be a logistical nightmare as well. Not so much that I couldn't add a hangar door here, but then you would need specialized right and left versions of the ships that dock here, because if you had the hangar door matching on like this side over here, if you were to park on the other side, it would be reversed, so it'd be on the other side, and I didn't really want that either. So yeah, as it is, I kind of like the idea of just going to another CV that can be larger anyway, for docking things in the back, and it's got plenty of room back there. I don't want to build this up. I don't want this to be interior space, short of a little bit on the edges for the engineering section, because I don't want to build this thing into some gigantic monster on the interior, kind of like the MCRN and Leviathan ended up. So this one, despite its size, really does not have that much complexity to the interior. or a lot of rooms or things like that. It's pretty much straightforward. It's a big barge, space barge transport vessel that hopefully has enough functionality where it could be very usable in game for a lot of stuff. But it's really based around the idea of adding modules to it to do other functions such as farming or storage or production or you name it, pretty much anything. Um, so that's where I'm at on the Mech here. So on the Mech, I know I keep on wasting all this Mech time with that. I wanted to take a look at this again and maybe try something again with the helmet or the helmet, the head part of it. Right now it kind of looks, I don't know, I keep on thinking like some 70s sci-fi movie or something, like some weird, like, not War of the Worlds, but something like that, the day the Earth stood still or something, to me it looks like I think I could do a better job with the head here. So I want to try other things here a minute. So I'm going to turn on some symmetry to start with, and let's blow away this again. I know I keep on trying new things here, and maybe I will, whoops, I have a way of accidentally blowing away blocks I don't mean to. Happens often. So let's just clean this up and let's start anew. Alright, so on this next version I'm going to try to do a hybrid. I kind of want a little lip in here so it still looks like the head is a separate piece from the torso. However, I have no desire to make it look like it turns. So what I'm thinking about doing is running one of these blocks again in here, which is going to give me that little this little pivot or this indentation there. And I think that's kind of helpful for trying to do this kind of thing here to make it look like it actually is separated. So then I'm going to use one of these weird blocks here because it's one of the things that could fit here and kind of line up with that same pivot angle that I'm running. So let's do that. Let's do no, we can't do a second one just like that. So then we put in its counterpart, which is this block here. And then here I think we're just going to have to go with that. Okay, so now we've got that little bit of indentation there. So viewport on where the player is going to sit and see out the Mech. I think I'll still run some kind of glass here. Now I could try with some angled glass here too. Let's try this a minute, see how it turns out. Maybe something like that. We'll take the angled clear one, put it in the middle, and let's try to get some kind of top piece there too. So I think that was right. Yeah, like that. And the straight clear one, small angled piece. A little hard to tell with that symmetry line right in the way. There it is. Okay. Yeah, maybe that's too much glass. Let's get some blocks in here to try to support that a little bit. So here, on this particular thing, there's not a huge amount of angled blocks that will fit that properly. You could do it with this. Something like that. So many different options you could really do on something like this. It's but I want to find one that I think looks cool because I mean this is really about visuals. It's never going to be a great in-game thing to have, I don't think. But, so it needs to look nice at least. Kind of sucks, you know, talking that way, like, oh, this is never going to amount to nothing. But I mean, it's a mech, and the shape and things of mechs just don't really play wonderfully with the game and the mechanics of the game. So I guess you do what you can do. See, I don't like this, so the glass I got in here is at that angle, and these side pieces are at like these are 45 and these are 22.5. I'm just trying to think of how I could do something about this. But then I got to line up to the bottom row as well. Oops. Like we could do that. And then on the bottom here, I think you'd be forced to use that block. And then you've got, you know, that not lining up to the other side there. And yeah, I don't know. Not thrilled with this look either. All right, so let's change this. Rather than it coming in on the corners, what if it just went straight down, like something like that? Help at all? Or is it just too wide? Or maybe it's the glass I got up here. Maybe that angled glass concept really isn't what I want. Now, this is just one of these nitpicky things that, I mean, you can really frog around with for a long time. Keep trying something until you finally like something you do. That look, yeah. Okay, so let's try different edges here. What else can be done that could work? Now there's some other pieces here. Curious what would happen if I went this route. Oh, actually, but the angle here I think would have to come out to there. And then what do we do on the bottom side here? Like that. And that kind of like hangs over the edge a little bit, and you don't have that curved line on the front. What if we tried no, well, that wouldn't line up with the other part. This is where it gets tricky when you're doing this kind of thing. It's like trying to come up with a block solution to try to, I don't know, make it look right, I guess. Okay, so what if it didn't? What if it just ran some full blocks here, or maybe even went past the edge a little bit? Something like that, and then could wrap around. Maybe one of these. And we could put in a half block here that could line up, I think, to the other part, sort of. Not quite, though. Not unless I got rid of that front lip and just ran the skinny one, but that I don't like to do either. Maybe. I'm gonna wedge here. Like that. Another one of those, and another one of these. It's amazing how you can change the look of this so quickly, though, by just changing little aesthetics like the head or maybe an arm or whatever. So I wish this glass was angled, and it could be, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do much with the, well, let's try it one more time. So just grab one of these angled, fancy glass again. Now, I could go with the other glass as well, and maybe I will end up doing that. See, but when I do that, it just looks like there's just too much glass. Although it'd probably be pretty good. Excuse me. Probably be pretty good for viewing. Let me just put the rest of this back together real quick. And that, and I think that's the right one. And let's also make it so you can see out of these things. That. It's alright. One thing I could do over here, though, is keep it a half block, but start to angle it back in like that. Maybe something along those lines, and then the head over here would continue like that, maybe. Yeah, lots of options. We got a little bit of block row up here too. We could try to add a little something there. Maybe even if it wasn't much, maybe some little thin decorative bottom lip here. Real thin. Oh, but we can't do it in the middle because of the other piece. That's alright though. So another thing too, I was looking at these slits going through here, and I'm thinking, well, how would it look if I changed out the bottom one so it's actually using one of these angled blocks like that instead. Yeah, I think that's alright. Now I could do it on the top, but I think that'll make it really small. Like that. That's just still alright. Okay. Not going to complain too much there. How about we take, whoops. Take out the center one. And do we got anything that could fit in there and look any bit close to right? It's like this. So we turn that like there. Or just replace all of those with that. So now over here too, we could try to add in some lines of some origin, something that kind of comes out from the center. Let's try thin blocks. See what that will do. Or let's have the bigger version. So we say we did something like that, and then maybe something like that. I would really like to get one of these things in there. Just trying to give it some, I don't know, some choppiness here on the this front area. Not sure if I like that though. Let's see what else could be done here. Well, what if we went with just a thin one here? No. Maybe get rid of the center and just put a flat in there. And then we got to figure out what to do about the corners. And there's no little, like, 45 half corner block of this kind of thing. So, okay, so let's try something different. What happens if we went round with it? Round blend or mix right, or would it look silly? Almost looks right, except probably for those parts now that don't look right. What if we were to change that so they're facing outward, so you got that smooth line on the outside. We could go out of the box here, and rather than trying to put a block there, maybe try to put in some kind of deco, something or other, something that'll fit in a one block space like that. We could potentially add some more deco here too. Limited options though when you get to like the small ones here, but say we had a couple like that. Alright, well anyway, the head. Let's see, what else can we do with the head here? Not sure if people like it better or not than what was there already, or what was there a couple iterations ago. Keep trying though. Keep trying. So what would happen if we took the center one and had the one with oops, a bit of a lip on the edge? Wish there was some kind of part here that I could work with a little bit better, or just keep that lip going across like that. And then now the top are kind of skinny. Yeah, I know. I still got to do the back of this thing, and I keep on messing around with everything else under it, or trying to get it right. There's something else I was looking at too, and I'm thinking I look a little wimpy over here. So I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't go with some bigger blocks here to kind of make it look more armored out in this section. That's something else I was thinking about, but how do I do that nicely? Well, let's say we'll change the angle here to those instead. We can put in little wedgies here to line that up right. And on the bottom, we could switch our angles and go with one of these, which will fit that. Something like that. A little bit beefier looking, I suppose. That was kind of the point. Okay, so now here I have to go back to the other angle set because I'm kind of going for that roundish look here, but I can't see what I'm rotating. Okay, we're almost there. Yeah, this is almost it. top here, we could bring these down. Basically adding a little bit more armor, I'd suppose. Getting it just a little tougher look. Yeah, that works out, I think, for the most part. I mean, we could take this one step further and also kind of bevel this top part out. I don't know if that'll help, though. Alright. We'll go with that for now. I know it seems like nothing got done on it again. I guess little things, though. Little things are getting done. Now, on the rest of this, you kind of see what I've been doing, so I might try to finish this up. Whoops. I don't know what I just did there. I might try to finish this up off screen on the rest of the body part of it. Texturing is going to be kind of fun too. That'll hopefully give it some look. I'm just curious if you like the changes I made this revision or not. The arms are still perplexing me a little bit, and the reason for that is I really don't want to run these guns, but I think they look good. But yeah, these, you know, if you're going to use this, you probably won't be using it in space. These can fire on surface targets. These can't. The best thing I could really put on here is turrets. But I just have a feeling that'll look really stupid. And it would have to be turrets that can also fire on the ground. So I'd have to use like projectile turrets of either miniguns or cannons if I was going to do that. And I think they would look really stupid if I put them in here is a problem. And how many could you actually really fit to make a difference? Like, I do something like that. I guess it kind of works, but or maybe I get rid of this little inner thingy here, and I'll just throw out some blocks here or something. How about some something that can angle in like that. Fill this in. Put another turret on the inverse side of that. It looks all right, I suppose. It's still, you know, the look versus like the big fixed guns I don't think is as good, but this would actually do something. Maybe not a lot, but it'll do something. It kind of looks like if I didn't obstruct it from behind, it could shoot backwards as well. But then I would have to leave this whole row open like that, and that kind of looks, I don't know. I don't really like that either. I don't know. What do you guys vote for? You think I ought to try to like go and try to make this more functionable, or do you think I ought to just really go for aesthetics and leave and try not to like destroy the looks, trying to make it look nice and mechy? That's a new word, by the way. Anyway, so that's what I got today. A couple more revisions here. I still plan on working on this quite a bit over probably the weekend, but I do plan on releasing the Creel Interfector Saturday. That's tomorrow, isn't it? I think it is. Yeah. So that is kind of my game plan. There's a couple little things I wanted to address with texturing. Obviously, this Xeno stuff, especially in the light like it is right now, doesn't look very good. I know that. Not much I can do about it. When you get this in the darker environment with the lights on and stuff, it blends in pretty good. But right now, But yeah, this thing's very capable. In game too, I set up a version of this. I don't think I have it here, but I wanted to see how many quantum cores it would take if I replaced all these middle row things with rocket launchers. Actually, this version has that done to it. So um, what I found is if you replace 16 cannon turrets with 16 rocket launchers, and then add one quantum core, um, it plays nice. It comes in just a little bit under CPU, and then you've got that whole center row attacking like space stuff with the 16 rocket launchers, which is gonna make more of an impact than the cannon turrets and look a little cooler in the process. However, because you only did the center row, if you pilot this from the lower cockpit down here, like it was kind of meant to do anyway to attack POIs, then these rockets launchers, which don't fire that direction, can just be shut down. Space-only weapons and all the other cannon turrets, which still is quite a few. It still is 46 cannon turrets would be able to fire onto the ground. So then it would still do its role of what I wanted it to do, to be a planetary POI buster as well as a space combat ship. So that's this is the option I'm going to take in game, and I'm building rocket launchers for it right now, and I have a quantum core to stick in it. Um, and I think that would be kind of neat. And then I could have that more, all these cannon turrets are they're not very exciting to watch shoot. I suppose where the rockets look way cooler and they do more damage. So that's why. So one quantum core, replace 16 cannon turrets with rocket turrets. Best to do it on the center column. And there's more turret places I could add stuff here too. Like I purposely left. Here, let's at least power this thing up. I purposely left a couple like gun positions on the side here that I never did fill in with anything. Oh, or even properly texture. Yeah, the textures for this Xenoblock are just bad. But yeah, so you could add, if I added a second quantum core in here, I could add some more guns here. I was even toying with the idea of like shaving off a couple blocks and throwing in like 4 like artillery launchers in the corners of this thing. However, I really didn't make like a nice mount place for those. They'd just kind of be ad hoc, like throw them on and see what happens. Now this thing is pretty tough though. In here, it's got multiple layers of mostly all Xenoblock. So, well, not everything, but a lot of it going through here. It's a little hard to see, but as it comes through the nose, which has several blocks here already, then it has to go through another wall that's kind of there, and another wall that's over here, and then it still goes on, and then there's another like double block wall here, and then finally, after all that, it'll get to the first parts inside the ship. And the outer walls are quite tough as well. So, yeah, I think this would perform quite well, especially if it had some rocket launchers in space. It didn't do bad how it was. It shoots through ammo like there's no tomorrow. And something else in comments that gave me a heads up on this, and I really appreciate it. When I was playing in the game, this thing has 2 small constructors in it. If I can find them now, we're sitting at a different angle, so everything looks very weird. The interior layout of the ship still screws me up a little bit. It makes a lot of sense when you're vertical or when you're horizontal, but when you're vertical like this, it's goofy, and I keep on getting lost inside. But anyway, what I was saying is I have 2 small constructors in here. When you go to those constructors and you want to build something, and you go to and you select CV, and then you look at the ammo options, it will not show you 30 mil cannon rounds, which this uses. And then I was kind of disappointed, thinking, oh, my small constructors can't do that ammunition. Well, they can, but you'd want to select base and then just build 30 mil ammo for the base. It's the same thing, and you can build it with small constructors. And it doesn't really need much resources. It does need wood or, carbon or whatever, but and then some other basic stuff. So it doesn't really need anything special. It's just, yeah, you can replenish your at least cannon rounds with the built-in constructors here. One suggestion was remove the two small constructors and put in a large constructor. Not a bad option, except I think I'd have to reconfigure the interior a little bit to handle that because of space. It's pretty tight on the inside. There's not much interior to this, although there's a few floors that are very hard to identify at this angle. In fact, yeah, like everything would seem weird. Anyway, I'll try to take proper pictures and things like that. Now, one thing that's really bugging me about the game right now too, and especially with Creel, is Creel I usually like to put in a darker setting to make them all look cool and everything. But right now there's this ongoing thing with these heavily illuminated turrets and hangar doors and things like that that just can look really bad depending on your light situation at the time. Like if I look at this hangar door from this side, although this whole room is dark, it glows white. And this is, if I paint it with the darkest color I'm using, it doesn't matter. It'll affect the outside of the door, but the inside of the door is glowing white yet. And I hate that. And just with Creel, it really looks bad because they're very dark anyway in color tones and things like that. So although I can't, sitting where it's at right now, I'm not really seeing much of a difference with that. But anyway, that's about all I've got for today. And yeah, curious on your thoughts on the Mech. Any other suggestions I should have on it, that'd be appreciative. Any suggestions on this as well. And if you feel like building modules, this one would, the dimensions of this one, which let me just repeat the numbers on there, would be probably optimal for how this stuff fits. But here, I better back this out. Except for where I put the cockpit on here. Obviously, that's screwing me up. Now, I did put the cockpit way at the top as well, because the whole point is you want to be able to first person see the very center, top, middle of these bays. I've got too much parked in here right now. Let me back this out. Thrusters. So, there. And keep in mind too, these things, like this is a farm module, so it's not carrying weight. So I put very limited thrusters on here. Enough so it can move and park, but beyond that, it doesn't really need much of anything. But of course, if you're going to do a production thing that you plan on undocking and bringing somewhere else, you'd probably want to get a lot of thrust power and stuff on it. So 7 high, 17 wide, 23 deep. Anything past 23, which you can do, will extend over the edge of the ship. If you do want to run solar, like this is doing it, I believe it's safe to still put them on the top and bury them, or you could do what I did here and have them extend over the edge. So that's about the biggest thing. Again, it gives you 7 blocks high, so you can have 2 floors, each 2 blocks high with a floor and ceiling in it, which I think is just about optimal for doing these kind of things. Allow you to fit big constructors or 2 block high parts or whatever you want to put in there. All right, and also special thanks to Allessia for making this this one here. I hope the video helps a little bit in showing you how it lines up. I sent Allessia the earlier, slightly earlier version of this ship, so she could see how it docks up and work out all the little logistic details. I had to do the same thing too. I realized that when I first built this, I had the landing feet sticking out another block row, and I'm like, well, That doesn't do anything, so it doesn't need to have that block row there or on the top. All right. Anyway, you all have yourself a good day and a good weekend, and I'll probably be back Monday with showing you a whole bunch of updates. See you later.